Hare Krishna devotees, please join us again for another class on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we will be covering Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 46. Uddhava visits Vṛndāvana. Join us for Jai Radha Mantra prayers, followed by a study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we'll end it with Narasimhadev prayers. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Krishna, dear devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Mudiriyet
Tato Jayamudiriye
Shravtam Swakatha Krishna
Shravtam Swakatha Krishna
Punya Shamana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto Bhadrani
Hridayantastoya Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Suhratsatam
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavate Ruttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Hare Krishna. So today we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 46. Please join us for the recitation of the first verse. Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 46. Uddhava visits Vṛndāvana, verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Krishnasya Dayitah Sakha
Krishnasya Daita Sakha
Shishya Brahaspate Sakshad
Shishyo Brahaspate Sakshad
Uddhavo Buddhi Sattamaha.
Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama.
Please.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Krishnasya Daita Sakha
Krishnasya Daita Sakha
Shishyo Brahaspate Sakshad
Shishyo Brahaspate Sakshad
Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama.
Uddhavo Buddhi Sattamaha. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shukdev Goswami said,
Shukdev Goswami said,
Vrishninam,
Vrishninam
of the Vishnus,
of the Vishnus,
Pravaraha,
Pravara
the best,
the best,
Mantri,
Mantri
advisor,
advisor,
Krishnasya,
Krishnasya
of Lord Krishna,
of Krishna,
Dayitaha,
Daita,
beloved,
beloved,
Sakha,
Sakha,
friend,
friend,
Shishya,
Shishya,
disciple,
disciple,
Brahaspate,
Brahaspati,
of Brahaspati,
of
the
Brahaspati,
spiritual master of the demigods,
the spiritual master of the demigods,
Sakshat,
Sakshat,
directly,
directly,
Uddhava,
Uddhava,
Uddhav,
Uddhav,
Buddhi,
Buddhi,
having intelligence,
having intelligence,
Sat Tamaha,
Sat Tamaha,
of the highest quality.
of the highest quality.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Sri Vṛndāvana Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, the supremely intelligent Uddhava was the best counselor of the Vrishni dynasty, a beloved friend of Lord Shri Krishna and a direct disciple of Brahaspati. Purport: the Acharyas gave various reasons why Lord Krishna sent Uddhava to Vṛndāvana. The Lord had promised the residents of Vṛndāvana, Ayasya, I shall return. Bhagavatam 10:39-35. Also in the previous chapter, Lord Krishna promised Nand Maharaj, Drashtum Eshyamaha, we will come back to see you and Mother Yashoda. Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 45, verse 23. At the same time, the Lord could not break his promise to Sri Vasudeva and Mother Devaki to finally spend some time with them after they had suffered for so many years. Therefore, the Lord decided to send his intimate representative to Vṛndāvana in his place. The question may be asked, why did Krishna not invite Nanda and Yashoda to visit him in Mathura? According to Srila Jiva Goswami, for the Lord to have exchanged loving feelings with Nanda and Yashoda in the same place and at the same time that he was exchanging them with Vasudeva and Devaki, would have created an awkward situation in Lord's pastimes. Thus Krishna did not invite Nanda and Yashoda to stay with him in Mathura. The residents of Vṛndāvana had their own way of understanding Krishna, and their feelings could not have been appropriately expressed on a regular basis in the kingly atmosphere of Mathura. Sri Uddhava is described in this verse as Buddhi Sattamaha, the most intelligent, and thus he could expertly pacify the residents of Vṛndāvana, who were feeling such intense separation from Lord Krishna. Then upon his return to Mathura, Uddhava was described to all the members of the Vrishni dynasty the extraordinary pure love he had seen in Vṛndāvana. Indeed, the love the cowherd men and gopis felt for Krishna was far beyond anything the Lord's other devotees had ever experienced. And by hearing about that love, all the Lord's devotees would increase their faith and devotion. As stated in the 3rd canto by the Lord himself, Nodhavo anvapi mana nyunaha. Uddhava is not even slightly different from me. Remembering Krishna so much, Uddhava was the perfect person to carry out the Lord's mission in Vṛndāvana. In fact, Sri Harivamsha states that Uddhava is the son of Vasudeva's brother Devabhag. Uddhavo Devabhagasya Mahabhagyah Suto Bhavat. In other words, he is a cousin brother of Sri Krishna's. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is a beautiful chapter where we hear how Lord Krishna, he's meeting and he's satisfying so many purposes just by one action, by sending Uddhava to Vṛndāvana. So now, as given in the purport, Acharyas explained, Srila Jiva Goswami explained at extensive level as how when Uddhava was sent, he was taking a message of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, how is he telling Uddhava? So one of the things somebody could ask is, who is this Uddhava, right? Who is Uddhava? So in the purport it is described that he is cousin of Lord Krishna, because he is son of Devabhag, who is brother of Vasudeva. And Krishna, who is appearing here, is with a specific purpose, right? Vinashaya cha dushkritam. So he has appeared as Lord Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva. So there is a subtle difference, right? Lord Vasudeva, there are two meanings of Vasudeva. First meaning is son of Vasudeva, and second meaning is who is present everywhere, omnipresent. So in the form of super soul, the form of Shirodakshai Vishnu, Lord expands as his Purusha incarnation and is present in every atom, in the heart of every living entity. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridadeshe arjuna tishtati. So what region? Desha means region. So which region does he reside? In the heart of every living entity. Hridadeshe arjuna tishtati. So in the heart of every living entity, in every atom and even in spaces between atoms, Lord is present in his expansion as Shirodakshai Vishnu. So that's also meaning of Vasudeva. So when we talk about Lord here, it is very nicely described that, Lord is sending his cousin, his very close friend. And Lord in 11th canto reveals that there is not a difference in Uddhava. Yet Acharyas explained that Lord is Vishnu Tattva, right? Lord Vasudeva is, non-different from Krishna, so there is Achintya Bheda Tattva among the Vishnu Tattvas. So when Lord Krishna expands into Balram, from Balram there are further expansions in four Vishnu Tattvas, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Hare Krishna. So here, this is Vasudeva Krishna who is sending Uddhava. So then you would say, wait a minute, how could it be that Lord Krishna, he never came out, he never left Vṛndāvana, yet at the same time, in the purports and as well as in the, in Krishna books, Srila Prabhupada is writing and Acharyas are writing, that it is Lord Krishna who is in Mathura. Well, when Lord Krishna, means again, we are saying Lord Krishna, he is non-different from Vasudeva Krishna. He expands, he is not like us. I know my business, you know your business. But Lord knows everyone's business because he is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhuvo matta sarvam pravardhate. So he is omnipresent and everything is in him. Yet he is saying he is not in them because he is pervading in his expansions. So unlike us, Lord expands and he can be everywhere, yet at the same time never step out of Vṛndāvana. So that is inconceivable potency of Lord. So we have to understand from the teachings of the Acharyas that he is inconceivable and we with our puny intelligence cannot understand Lord who is unlimited like an ocean. So our intelligence is like a small pot. Can you contain the ocean in this small pot? No, it is impossible. Yet at the same time, devotees, when they hear, the purpose is not to become intelligent or be a very erudite scholar or to be a great speaker. The mood of studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita is to invoke our love for Godhead with that strong faith, with that mercy coming our way. So all three kind of people are benefited when Srimad Bhagavatam is being spoken. So Shukdev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So the person who is speaking, he is benefited. So Shukdev Goswami achieves perfection just by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days, 7 nights. And Parishit Maharaj, who is the hearer, he is the Shrota. So he is asking questions also. So one who hears and inquires further about this transcendental subject matter, the various subject matters covered in Srimad Bhagavatam, also benefits. So Parishit Maharaj attains perfection by Shravanam, just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And then all the other spectators in the assembly, so there are great sages in this assembly. Devashi Narad himself is there, Vyasdev is there, Gautam Rishi is there, Vashishta is there, Vishwamitra is there, Atri Rishi. So it's like all the great sages have gathered in this assembly where they are sitting. And where are they sitting? Are they sitting in the palatial assembly of Parishit Maharaj when he was the emperor of the world? No. Because Parishit Maharaj renounces the complete kingdom and he is sitting at the bank of Ganges awaiting his death, which has been foretold to him that he will be killed by the bite of a snake. And we hear that's Takshak, and that will come later. So here Parishit Maharaj is hearing. So again, when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, especially this 10th canto, where Lord Krishna's, his own pastimes are described, is to invoke that love of Godhead. And thank you, Hare Krishna. So here, Lord is saying, Uddhava is not different from me. So who is Uddhava? It's very important to understand who Uddhava is. So it is given by the Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada writes in his translation, in the days of yore, once Lord Brahma and demigods, they prayed to the Lordship. And one of the Vasus, he had this desire to become associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So Lord granted this Vasu this wish. So this is an expansion of Uddhava. So now you say, okay, Lord expands, but how could Uddhava expand? And he was one of the Vasu, because it also is given that Uddhava is a close associate, an intimate associate of Lord Shri Krishna. So it just so happened that this Vasu, when he was praying with pure heart, Lord granted this wish and gave him. So again, living entity can expand up to 9, right? 9 different forms. However, Lord can expand unlimitedly. So there is this limitation. So we are same in quality as Lord Krishna, but different in quantity, because Lord is unlimited. He can have unlimited expansions. And we discussed this earlier, that when Anantashesh was asked to carry the universe on his head, the various universes, he said that I will be carrying these universes on my head and I will get tired. So when can I rest? So with his 1,000 hoods, he was said that he was given this instruction by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, that yes, when you are able to sing all the glories of Lord Krishna, then you can take that rest. And since then he started singing the glories, he hasn't stopped. With his 1,000 hoods, he is singing the glories of various pastimes, but before he can even come close to finishing, Lord expands unlimitedly. So it is very difficult, even a great personality as Anantashesh, who is an expansion of Lord Balaram, to finish singing the glories of Lord Shri Krishna. What to talk of us? We have just little intelligence. And Uddhava is said to be non-different from Lord Krishna. So now somebody could ask, is he also Vishnu Tattva? No, he is not a Vishnu Tattva, he is a Jiva Tattva. And it is described by the Acharyas. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives this explanation that Uddhava is a Jiva Tattva, and we know the characteristic of a Jiva Tattva. Jivera Suruphoya Krishnera Nityadas. Krishnera Tatastha Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. So Jivera Surup, the constitutional position of a living entity is Krishnera Nityadas, as an eternal servant of Lord Krishna. A servant serves. So we serve Lord Krishna. And people who don't want to serve, because of the delusion of material energy, they are deluded and sometimes even become envious, as we'll see Uddhava describing some of the personalities, that they become envious and there is no hope for them. and they're caught in this material world, going through the cycle of birth, death, old age, disease, facing these miseries. So here, Uddhava is being described that, and then Lord Krishna is saying he's not different from me because in quality he's not different, and that his mission is same as that of Lord Krishna. And even Lord Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Atmaram, he is fully self-satisfied. Even he is showing that he has an advisor. He has an advisor, he has a close associate with whom he is conversing and even taking advice. Yet at the same time, Uddhava, who is highly intelligent, who is his spiritual master? Sakshat Brahaspatehe, it said. Sage Brahaspati, who is the spiritual master of the demigods. He is the spiritual master, direct spiritual master of Uddhava. And so in the days of yore, when this wish was granted, so Uddhava was able to take birth as Devbhag, brother of Lord King Vasudeva, and Vasudev's son is Lord Vasudeva Krishna. And he is sending Uddhava back. However, when Lord Krishna had, right after killing Kansa and satisfying his parents after some days, where Nand Maharaj and the cowherd man and the cowherd boys, the Gopa boys, they stayed in Mathura for some days, and afterwards when they were ready to leave, Lord Krishna, holding the hand of Nand Maharaj, he says that, please, after I satisfy your relatives, your brother Vasudeva and Devaki, who had been, in separation from their sons. So he is, invoking that love of Nand Maharaj, that he is there to satisfy Nand Maharaj's relatives, which gives great satisfaction to Nand Maharaj. He says, I will return back to you and Mother Yashoda. I will come back to Vṛndāvana. And even though it appears that he is staying in Mathura, he does return back to Vṛndāvana. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that he is coming back to Vṛndāvana in his bhava form and in his aparakrit form. So aparakrit means one who is not visible to the eyes, but bhava is the emotions. So he's present in Vṛndāvana, in the heart of all the Vṛndāvana Vasis, as they love, as they're growing. So Lord is constantly in Vṛndāvana in his bhava incarnation in aparakrit form, not manifesting to their eyes, but he is present. While Vasudeva stays in Mathura and Sankarshan stays in Mathura, and Krishna and Balaram are in Vṛndāvana. So when Nand Maharaj returned, Lord Krishna is there. Yet at the same time, Vasudeva Krishna is asking his close associate, his brother, his cousin, as well as a very close friend, Uddhava. Now, in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Srila Sanatana Goswami describes the great qualities of Uddhava. So, some of the qualities we can cover today is Uddhava has been identified as an exalted Vrishni who is able to get constant association of Lord Krishna. He is so devoted to Lord Krishna that he is constantly serving Lord Krishna. So, he even has features similar to that of Lord Krishna. He has the same lotus eye petals as Lord Krishna. He has the same complexion of a raining cloud, the bluish complexion as Lord Krishna. He also has the raised nose as Lord Krishna. He also has so nicely carved long arms as Lord Krishna. His appearance is very much similar to Lord Krishna. And on top of that, his dress is very much similar to Lord Krishna. So sometimes people could say, wait a minute, if he's dressing like Lord Krishna, is it like, the false Vasudeva scenario, where another king, he wanted to be like Lord Krishna, so he said that he is Vishnu. He was bewildered by his friends and, his associates. That is not the case. Rather, Uddhava would accept, what Lord Krishna would be providing as his remnants. So he would wear the clothes that Lord has worn. So he is accepting all the remnants of Lord Krishna. And he is wearing them. So the garland that Lord Krishna has worn, so he has given that to Uddhava, and Uddhava wears that garland. The ornaments that Lord wears, when he is wearing new ornaments, he is passing these old ornaments to Uddhava. So this is a loving exchange. And this reminds me of an incident where Srila Prabhupada, he was new in US, and in New York at that time, one of the family members of Birla, one of the affluent families in India, they were visiting, and coming from very aristocratic family, Srila Prabhupada thought that it would be a nice influence if they contribute towards the movement, so he went to visit them. And Mukund Maharaj, who was his disciple at that time, went with Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Mukund Maharaj, he went. And he went to meet this couple, from the Birla family in a hotel. And when they reached there, they treated them very nicely. They, welcomed Srila Prabhupada, had nice conversation. And while they were leaving, they gave them few, like menstrual dates. So menstrual date is a really big date. And it's a very well-known, menstrual date. And so, Srila Prabhupada, took, and then he understood that there was not much support coming, but he was thankful that at least they heard, and they will get benefit, because we talked about love matra, sadhu sangha sarva siddhi. So they would be benefited because they heard in a very positive mood, and they gave something to, as a charity. So Lord Krishna says that he accepts as Yajna Purusha through the fire sacrifice, through the fire, sacrificial fire. However, he prefers, the charity that is taken by the mouth of Brahmanas through the fire in the stomach. So he regards it much higher. So they had given him. So when Srila Prabhupada was returning back, at that time Srila Prabhupada took a bite of the menstrual date, and then he passed it to Mukund Maharaj. Now from the Western culture, this was a big, deal for His Holiness Mukund Maharaj. He was surprised that Prabhupada had taken a bite from that date, and then he had given half of the date to Mukund Maharaj, and then he gave him the instruction like, go eat it. So Mukund Maharaj, feeling a bit awkward because he had never seen this. This is not usual in Western culture. People don't take a bite of something and then give it to someone to eat. It happens in family members, very intimate associates only. So Mukund Maharaj accepted it, he ate it. So this is a glory of the spiritual master, that they give their remnants to their disciple, because by accepting that remnant, one is purified. And where do we see in Srimad Bhagavatam this incident? This is in the case of Narad Muni. Devashi Narad says, Narad reveals this to who? None other than Vyasadev. He is telling Vyasadev that he was a maidservant's son in his previous life, on a previous day of Lord Brahma. And when he was a maidservant's son, it just so happened that some Vedantists came to the ashram where his mother was serving. And there, these Vedantists, it was the duration of Chaturmasya, where it's raining constantly for 4 months. So they were discussing Vedant philosophy day and night, and they were relishing, right? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They were constantly in bliss, discussing the pastimes and of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So at that time, when he was serving them, they left some remnants of food that they had taken. So he used to clean their utensils, and also he asked them if you could accept those remnants, the leftovers. And they very smilingly granted him that permission. And just by eating that food, he was purified. And he built attraction to hearing Hari Katha. So that is a great benefit for us. The elevation and advancement is noticed when one becomes very much eager to hear Hari Katha. This is a great quality, because by hearing Hari Katha, our hearts are purified. And in pure heart, Lord Krishna himself resides in our heart, and we get to worship Lord Krishna in that love, with devotion, with gratitude and humility, and in complete transcendental bliss. And at that particular point, we become prasannatma, we become happy, and we are already situated in Brahman. Going back to Godhead is just part of the cycle, but we are already building Vaikuntha. It is said that when Srila Prabhupada would travel, Wherever he would go, it would appear that Vṛndāvana is traveling with him, Vaikuntha is traveling with him. So wherever he went, he created Vaikuntha-like environment, that atmosphere, the ambience would completely transform into this blissful form. And His Holiness Achyutananda Maharaj, in his book, he reveals as how when he saw Srila Prabhupada, he felt like there is a great general of the universe is sitting. So this is his first impression when he saw Srila Prabhupada, giving lecture, preaching to the American boys and girls. So this is a great potency of the Lord, that He provides His representative. And so Lord expands externally for us, materially, conditioned souls, in the form of spiritual master. And when we take shelter of that spiritual master, we get the benefit, we get the mercy of Lord Krishna. Reminding me of another incident where Srila Prabhupada was, when he was in India with his American disciples, the boys and girls from America, great personalities. Srila Prabhupada used to call them the white elephants, because he used to say that elephant is, a very big animal, the biggest animal on earth, on land. Yet at the same time, among the elephants, the white elephants are the best. And since the complexion of Western boys and girls was white, he said, "You are my white elephants." So they felt very, much rejuvenated with that energy, so encouraged by Srila Prabhupada. And as we see in the videos that we see following Srila Prabhupada, that Uddhava Prabhu has so nicely created and spread all around the world, in those videos we see, and even on YouTube you can go, as how these boys and girls, when they came to Bombay, it's given very nicely by Shyam Sundar Prabhu, that, when they came to Bombay and they were waiting for Srila Prabhupada to come, how they were going on daily Sankirtan on the roads, in the streets on Marine Drive, and rejuvenating everyone, and people were really taking up Krishna consciousness. So again, they were getting attracted by the white elephants. So it once so happened that Srila Prabhupada had gone to a very aristocratic family, and there he was invited, and the devotees were invited. They were nicely fed, nice prasadam and so forth. And as they were returning, they had given a return gift of Lord Krishna's small deity form. So Srila Prabhupada took it, and then he passed it to another disciple. At that time, Mother Malti Mataji's daughter and Shyam Sundar Prabhu's daughter, Saraswati, was there. And so now the devotees, they were passing the deity, the small deity form of Lord Krishna, and Saraswati was running, and all of a sudden, they were hiding it from her. So in a playful mood, they're playing with this small child, Saraswati, and so they were hiding it from her, and then they quickly passed it to Srila Prabhupada. And then she was looking for this deity, who has it. She was going to, one by one to different disciples, trying to see their hands. They don't have it. And then suddenly someone said, "So, Saraswati, who has Krishna?" And suddenly she said, with a great beaming smile, "Srila Prabhupada has Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has Krishna." And Srila Prabhupada was holding, Lord Krishna's deity form on his back. So he brings it forward and gives it to her. So it is only a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord, who can give us Krishna. That's the message. That's what everybody understands, and that's what is revealed in the scriptures again and again, that one who has Krishna can give Krishna. If we approach a pujari and we see that the pujari is not able to reciprocate our feelings, then we should not take it, because they are busy with so many activities. Yet at the same time, if a pujari is going out of the way while carrying out their activities and giving us a prasad is also called mercy of Lord Krishna. So if we are getting that mercy, it can only come through a devotee, because devotees, the pure devotees, are the instrument of Lord Krishna. And also Srila Prabhupada has explained in his writing that it is Madhyam Adhikari who goes to preach. Right? And Srila Prabhupada was an Uttam Adhikari, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Yet he came down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. Because if you know how to do multiplication and division, you know how to do addition and subtraction. So he is Uttam Adhikari. Coming down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari doesn't make him a Madhyam Adhikari. You have to understand this very clearly. just because a teacher is teaching first graders in the classroom and the teacher is present in the same classroom as the first grader kids who are just 5-6 years old, doesn't mean that the teacher has now become a first grader. He is just coming down to the level of first graders to help them understand how to do plus and minus. So Srila Prabhupada, by his own example, is teaching us how to preach, how to be humble, how to be tolerant. He's coming to New York, when he came to Boston, then to New York, and then went to Philadelphia. All these incidents we hear again and again is to learn lesson as how a devotee is so tolerant, how he is so magnanimous, and how Srila Prabhupada was so surrendered to Lord Krishna's feet and to his, in the service of his spiritual master, that no matter what condition he was, he never took a step back. He always was fully dedicated. He himself says that he never forgot Krishna, right? Smartavya satatam Krishna virsmartavya na jatuchit. Sarve vidhi nishedhisyur etayor eva kinkara. So this is a smart verse. Smartavya satatam Krishna. Always remember Krishna. Vismartavya na jatuchit. Never forget Krishna. And sarve vidhi nishedhisyur. All other rules and prohibitions are just the subservient of these two rules. So these are the two main principles that we follow. So Srila Prabhupada, by his example, he is teaching us, he is showing us, he is the role model for us. As a father, he is the preeminent Acharya, he is the preeminent Shiksha Guru of all the folks who joined the Society for International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Now this is also very interesting. Srila Prabhupada named the society as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He did not name it as International Society of Krishna Consciousness. If he had said International Society of Krishna Consciousness, that would have meant that if you want Krishna Consciousness, this is the only place you get it. That is not the meaning. Means again, he wanted to make it very clear that International Society for, so this is where you get Krishna Consciousness. So this is in one of the disciplic succession, right? One of the paramparas. So there are 4 paramparas. One coming from Lord Brahma. We are in Brahma Sampradaya. So the Sampradayas is another name for disciplic succession. So Brahma Sampradaya is the disciplic succession coming from Lord Brahma. From him, his disciple is Devashi Narad, Sage Narad. From him, the disciple is Vyasadeva and so forth. The second is Rudra Sampradaya. From Lord Shiva, a disciplic succession is coming. And Lord Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He is the topmost Vaishnava. Then the third one is from Goddess Lakshmi, Shri Sampradaya. And then the fourth one is Kumar Sampradaya, coming from the Chatur Kumars, the 4 sons of Lord Brahma, who decided to stay as 5-year-old children. But they are exalted personalities. As we hear in the pastime of Prithu Maharaj, as how they are instructing Prithu Maharaj with so much, and how they are the cause of Jai and Vijay to come. So they are instructing Prithu Maharaj on the Vedic scriptures, on the direction as how one should be surrendered to Lord Krishna, and how exalted Prithu Maharaj is, who is also considered as a Shaktivish avatar of Lord Krishna. So Lord expands in various forms as Vishnu Tattvas, but also one of the avatars Lord takes is Shaktavesh. So that is called empowered incarnation. So the various incarnations been described in Srimad Bhagavatam who are empowered incarnation. So we should look at Uddhava as an empowered incarnation. When we talk about Srila Prabhupada, he is empowered. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made this prophecy, this declaration that his name will be chanted in every town and street of the world. At that time, he did not do it because he wanted Srila Prabhupada to do it. So Lord Krishna wants to glorify his devotee, and the devotee wants to glorify Lord Krishna. Similarly, as it happened on Kurukshetra, the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna wanted to glorify Arjun. And Arjun constantly glorifies Lord Krishna. And in Bhagavad Gita, we hear how they're calling each other with various names, which have so deep meanings in the context of their conversation. Yet at the same time, this conversation, even though it appears to be between 2 cousins and 2 very close friends, But the instructions are given only when Arjun becomes disciple. He surrenders. Shishaste mam. So he is saying, I am your disciple. And in that position, Lord is instructing. So now the relationship has changed to that of a spiritual master and a disciple. And the disciple is one who is ready to be disciplined. So that's what we understand, that we as disciples of our spiritual master are ready to be disciplined by our spiritual master, ready to be corrected. Why? Because that will only purify us. So here, Uddhava accepts all the remnants of Lord Shri Krishna, whatever he passes on. So even the ornaments, even the clothes, even, he even wears a mukut just like Lord Krishna, which was actually worn previously by Lord Krishna and now passed on to Uddhava. And when Lord Krishna is sleeping, Uddhava doesn't want to sleep. He loves Lord Krishna so much, more than himself, that he is constantly serving Lord by pressing his feet, by pressing his arms, making sure he is massaging Lord nicely. He dresses Lord Krishna. He loves to be present where Lord Krishna is. And he is constantly... So again, the word used was mantri, but it was translated as advisor. So even Lord Krishna, but he is also a close associate, where he is constantly serving Lord Krishna with true meaning. And when Lord Krishna is resting, he is waiting outside the room just so that if Lord Krishna wakes up and he needs something, he would immediately run and provide that. This reminds me of another incident where Srila Prabhupada, when he was traveling all around the world, wherever he went, he wanted to make sure that as he's doing translation work and he's meeting various guests. So again, devotees realized that sometimes the guests would just barge in and they would disturb Srila Prabhupada in middle of various translation activities and conversations he was having with his advanced disciples and so forth, other sannyasis. So they said, okay, let there be a boy outside. And Srila Prabhupada would call on to this boy to get different things. So, once it just so happened that I'm trying to remember His Holiness Naveen Prabhu's spiritual master's name. So anyway, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Navyogendra Maharaj, so he was present at that time. And Srila Prabhupada called for this boy, who's supposed to be waiting outside in case Srila Prabhupada needs something. And so Navyogendra Maharaj went out, His Holiness Navyogendra Maharaj, looking for this boy, and then he brought the boy. And Srila Prabhupada chastised this boy so much so, showing such an anger, that even Navyogendra Maharaj, His Holiness Navyogendra Maharaj, he was shaking. His body, his limbs were quivering because of the fear, because of seeing the anger of Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada asked that boy to go out and stay there so that he'll be present if Srila Prabhupada needs him to do something. And the boy went outside after, getting all that chastisement. This chastisement that spiritual master sometimes gives us is for our purification. And we should understand that what is it that we did, or how can we improve ourselves to serve our spiritual master, to serve ultimately Lord Krishna properly. So spiritual master is asking us to serve Lord Krishna, and when we serve our spiritual master, we are helping him in the mission of serving Lord Krishna. So even though the boy went out, Navyogendra Maharaj was still, he describes that he was still shaken. And then Srila Prabhupada quickly turned around and continued to have the conversation as he was having before. And that is revealing that Srila Prabhupada, he was not showing that anger because he was really upset. It was the anger and chastisement for the benefit of the devotee, his disciples. So as a spiritual master, it is the duty of the spiritual master to chastise us, to correct us, to show us, go beyond our comfort zone, to go out preaching, to go out sharing this wonderful knowledge, to go out doing book distribution. So this is an essential service, to go out, serve the deities in the temple, and to serve the Vaishnavas, because Vaishnava Seva is the true dharma of current age. So when we are asking Lordship by chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, when we are serving and praying to the Lord that please engage us in your service, Lord very much grants us his service, and sometimes the service comes in the form of serving other Vaishnavas, including our spiritual masters and senior Vaishnavas and even our peer Vaishnavas. We serve them so that, and we are very compassionate to the innocent. People who are innocent minded, they do not know what's what. So we try to give them this transcendental knowledge. And this transcendental sound vibration is our prayer to Lord Krishna, yet at the same time, it is to purify us and invoke that love of Godhead. It is also devotional service, kirtan, chanting of the holy name. So here, Uddhava is the representative and Lord Krishna is sending Uddhava. So how does he send his representative? In a very loving attitude is described that he is holding the hands of Uddhava and he is saying that please go to Vṛndāvana and go and directly meet Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, my parents. So he is revealing to Uddhava that Uddhava has to go and satisfy first Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. And then Lord Krishna is saying, which is surprising because when Uddhava takes on this travel in the other scriptures, it's given that he's always wondering why did Krishna say the next piece and what did he say? Lord Krishna is saying, and you should also meet the gopis, they are my pure devotees. They consider me their life and soul. And in Bhagavad Gita we hear Krishna saying what, but gopis are showing it how. This is what we say. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying that what we as devotees need to do. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is exemplified as how it is being done by various devotees. In Bhagavad Gita in 10th canto, we hear, Macchitta madgat prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Macchitta madgat prana. Thinking of me, so I'm paraphrasing, thinking of me as their life and soul, constantly remembering me, right? Macchitta, constantly thinking of me. Bodhayanta parasparam, they are constantly, the devotees of Lord Krishna are constantly conversing amongst each other. Kathayantascha mam nityam, singing his glories regularly, nityam, eternally, constantly, regularly. Tushyanti cha ramanti. Tushyanti is they get tushti, they get satisfaction. And ramanti, they experience transcendental bliss. So he is describing these gopis like that these gopis, they consider me their life and soul, and they are constantly thinking of me, they are constantly immersed in my love. So you should go and, give my message to the gopis as well. And Uddhava knows in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when we study, and we covered it in other classes earlier, that as Lord Krishna is sleeping, sometimes he is calling out gopis' names in his sleep. He is calling out Radharani's name, she is calling out, Lalita, Vishakha, Chandravali, and so many other gopis. He is calling them out because he is remembering them even in his sleep, when he is resting. So Uddhava knows, and his queens, so he hasn't met his queens yet in this pastime, so he is still not married in this particular pastime. So he is, as is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, because in other pastimes, Lord is eternally married to Radharani, and that has been described in Garg Samhita. So here, very nicely, he is sharing this to Uddhava, and he is sending his message through Uddhava to take to Vṛndāvana. Now somebody would say, oh, so this is a city boy, he's being sent to village, and villages are like, backward, right? That's the common attitude of someone coming from a town or city life, while not realizing even in today's time where COVID-19 has created this lockdown situation, it is because of the farming and agriculture that we are sustaining ourselves, right? In city life, we are basically working, and our production has been mainly supporting various services and, education, and then what are we building? Nuts and bolts, basically. The manufacturing industry is just, manufacturing instruments that you can't eat. They are processing food, which actually degrades the quality of the food. Yet at the same time, some can say that yes, that is way of sustaining ourselves, but really, where is that food really coming from? So it's coming from the agriculture fields. The milk is coming from the cows, and various spices and other things are coming from the trade. So again, we have to understand that the village life is very important. And here Uddhava, who is an expert, who is very intelligent, the most intelligent of Vrishnis, the closest associate of Lord Krishna, his advisor, he is taking this message to Vṛndāvana. Now as Uddhava is heading towards Vṛndāvana, it is around dusk time that he reaches Vṛndāvana. And Lord expands his internal potency as Uddhava enters. Why is he doing that? That is also revealed by Acharyas. It just so happens that Uddhava is on the golden chariot. And this was the same chariot that Akrura had taken previously when he had gone to Vṛndāvana to take Krishna and Balaram. So Uddhava is going on that chariot, and if people pay attention that this chariot is entering at this time, there will be a huge crowd, because Uddhava looks like Lord Krishna, right? From a distance, he would appear just like Lord Krishna, but Acharyas explained that he is going at such a time where the cows and the bulls, the oxen, the calves, they are returning back to the village after all the day of herding in the forest. So as they are returning, this chariot passes through in between them, among them, quickly is able to pass through unnoticed. So this is where Lord expands his internal potency, so that Vrindavan Vasis don't see it. However, Uddhava is able to see. And what does he see? He sees a land more beautiful, more glorious and more transcendental than Mathura. It is said that the cowherd men, the young boys and the gopis, they were in the most exquisite dresses, and the ornaments are clinging together in a musical tone. The breeze is coming from the lakes, the evening breeze, and there is dust rays from the calves' hooves and the cow hooves and so forth all around, and people are constantly chanting, singing the glories of Lord Shri Krishna and Lord Balaram. So it's a musical environment. Suddenly he is entering. As he is entering Vrindavan, he is experiencing this transcendental bliss which he had never experienced before. So sometimes when a city boy goes to village, they expect themselves to be in a higher state, but in reality, the consciousness of the villagers, in this case of Vrindavan, who is the topmost dham of Lord Krishna, the bliss is so amazing, right? Chintamani pakar sadmashukalpa vriksha laksha vrateshu surabhira pipalayantam Lakshmi sahastra shata sambramya sevyamanam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Krishna is praying in Brahma Samhita that the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna, the Golok Vrindavan, is made up of, the roads are paved with touchstone, the buildings are made of touchstone, and the trees are desire trees. So this is Bhoma Vrindavan where, Uddhava is entering. Yet at the same time, it's containing simultaneously, it's inconceivable, the spiritual Vrindavan as well as the material world as we know, and as Bhoma Vrindavan. And here, as Uddhava is entering, he's getting enchanted looking at this bliss, and he's seeing that the bulls are fighting among themselves for the fertile cows. And the cows are trying to run after their calves, but they're running slowly because of the heavy udders containing milk. So they want to feed their babies after a whole day of grazing in the fields. And the calves are just running hither, thither, making all kind of sounds. And people are walking, singing glories of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. They are constantly in this. And unnoticed among all of them, Uddhava is able to reach Nand Maharaj's palace. And when Nand Maharaj sees Uddhava coming, he immediately comes and welcomes him, understanding that this is my nephew, right? We all talked about that, Vasudev's father, Susen, he had many wives, and one of his wives was from a Vaishya family, from a mercantile family. And Nand Maharaj is her son, while Vasudeva is directly the son of a Kshatriya wife of Sursen. So that's how we realize that they are half brother, half cousins. And Vasudeva's brother Devbhag, he has this son as Uddhava. And Uddhava, being cousin of Lord Krishna, is nephew of Nand Maharaj. Nand Maharaj comes, welcomes him. But how does Uddhava look? He looks just like Lord Krishna. So Nand Maharaj is feeling this great affection. So he nicely seats him, makes him sit on a very nice, fine, first-class throne, and he's nicely having folks, wash his feet, taking care of him, embracing him, feeling like he's embracing Lord Krishna. And it is revealed by Acharyas that giving him a nice massage. So he asked one of the servants to give Uddhava a nice massage, and after having taken bath and nicely settled, he is having this conversation with Uddhava as how's Shura. So he's asking about his brothers. He's asking about Vasudeva. How is Vasudeva and Devaki? Because for many years they had been separated from their children. And how is Krishna and how is Balaram? He's inquiring about. And when are they coming back? So when he is asking this question, initially Uddhava, his response is very scholarly. But they don't accept it because at this particular time Uddhava is, he is somewhat bewildered. And he is revealing to them that who you think is Krishna as your son is actually, he doesn't have a father. He is no one's son, he is no one's brother, he is no one's sister, but he is all. Right? And we sing these prayers, Tameva mata cha pita tameva, tameva bandhuscha sakha tameva, tameva vidya dravidam tameva, tameva sarvam mama deva deva. So this is where we realize Lord Krishna, who is our father, who is our mother, who is our brother, he is the one who gives us all. He is our best friend, and he is all in all. He is the knowledge, he is everything comes from him. Right? So that's why Acharyas say, see Krishna in everything around you. Because it is none other but an expansion of Lord Krishna. So understanding from that perspective, from that vision, we realize that when Uddhava is revealing this, Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, they are in Vatsalya Ras, and on top of that, Madhurya Vatsalya Ras. And this is why Acharyas explains, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains in his commentary that Lord Krishna could not have invited Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai to come and live in Vṛndāvana, in Mathura, because in Mathura is Aishwarya Bhav, right? While in Vṛndāvana is Madhurya Bhav. Madhurya Bhav is much higher than Aishwarya Bhav. And on top of that, Lord Krishna is present in Vṛndāvana in his Bhav, in his Aparakrit, form. And here he is present in Mathura in his Vaibhav, in his Prabhav form. So there is Prabhav forms are again is full potency of the Lord, and also there is partial potency. So partial potencies are given in Naimittika pastimes, occasional pastimes, because of the different situations like Mohini Avatar and Kurma Avatar. So these are Naimittika pastimes of Lord Krishna. While potent forms are as he's appearing as Rishabdev. So that's one example. And then Vaibhav. Vaibhav is Aishwarya, right? So again, so that's another form as Lord expands. And then Acharya explains that there are 6 types of categories of incarnations of Lord Krishna. But focusing on this particular topic, let's come back, where Uddhava is explaining, but he's seeing that Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai is sitting right there, they are not much affected, he is not getting much response. And then he starts to narrate about the glories of Lord Krishna. That Lord Krishna, he is so merciful. And then the moment he says that, Nand Maharaj, remembering the mercy of Lord Krishna, yes, he says, yes, he is very merciful, he is so loving. So it is the loving aspect. The moment Uddhava touches that Lord is so loving, Lord is so giving of himself, Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, as if they have awakened from sleep. All those memories that they are constantly thinking, they were not able to
come down to the level of Uddhava when he was saying that Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is, the husband of the goddess of fortune and so forth, talking about his prabhav and vaibhav, aspects. They were not really getting much insight, but the moment he talks about the Lord's love, his affection towards his pure devotees, they say, yes, Krishna saved us from the forest fires. He saved us from the Kaliya snake. He subdued Kaliya snake and purified Ganges, Yamuna. And then Yamuna is also known as Ganges after Prabhas, after the Sangam in Allahabad. So they are now singing glories of Lord Krishna, and this is the mood of a pure devotee we see. This is the instruction we get, as Srila Prabhupada says, never forget Krishna. He is giving us this instruction. So in his writing in Krishna book, he's saying this is the mood of a pure devotee. The moment you remind him of Lord, he is able to, immediately start recalling, constantly thinking of Lord Krishna. They're saying when Krishna was just a baby, he killed Putana. When he was a little old, just 3 months, he, killed the Shakatasur, the cart demon, just by a touch of his toe as he was kicking. The whole cart fell apart. When he was just a year old, he killed the whirlwind demon, Trinavarta. When he was just a little older, he brought down the 2 Arjun trees, right? And that was when Lord Krishna was chastised by Mother Yashoda. So again, hearing these is something that Mother Yashoda is able to relate. And her eyes, constant torrents of rain, just like that, her tears are flowing, wetting her clothes, her face, her cheeks, everything. And Yashoda Mai is given in the Shastra and other scriptures, has become very thin. Earlier we saw when she was chasing Lord Krishna, we discussed how Acharyas explained that she was a full-figured lady and she was running to catch Krishna, but she was finding it difficult. Yet now, because Lord Krishna is not there, she doesn't feel hunger at all. She's not eating anything. Her eyes have gone into sockets and she has become very thin and constantly crying. It's very visible because the dried tear marks are always on her cheeks. Because as soon as she remembers Krishna, she remembers his loving pastimes and she is missing him, constantly thinking of Lord Krishna. And then Nand Maharaj is explaining how Krishna saved us from the forest fire. And when they had moved from Gokul to Vṛndāvana, in the very early stages itself, he killed Bakasur. And then he killed Vatsasur, the calf demon. Sur was the bird demon, had a duck-like shape with long beaks. And as how Lord Krishna and Balaram, they went to Talavan, and then Lord Balaram killed Dhenukasur. Later on, Lord Balaram also killed Pralambasur. As how Lord Krishna, he killed so many demons, saving, and how he chastised and even made Indra humble by holding, the hill, Govardhan hill, for 7 days, 7 nights. And saving all the residents of Vrindavan. How Lord Krishna is so auspicious by constantly saving the Vrindavan Vasis, by chastising Kaliya, by twice swallowing the forest fire and saving the cowherd boys on the second forest fire, and all the residents of Vrindavan during the first forest fire after he had subdued Kaliya and driven him away from the lake. And as Nand Maharaj is explaining, and then he's saying, yes, Krishna and Balaram are, incarnation of the prime, some very important demigods, as Garg Muni also said so. Yet at the same time, Uddhava is revealing to him, yes, they are the supreme personalities of Godhead. So as we understand, Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Ete chams kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Loke Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So it is revealed by Sutta Goswami in the first canto, 3rd chapter itself. He is saying, in the assembly of great sages, and their spokesperson is Shaunakya Rishi. So he is revealing to them that, Ete Chams Kalapumsa, all these other incarnations. So he has listed various incarnations, including Devashi Narad and Chaturkumas and Kapil Dev and so forth. they are all expansions and plenary expansion, portion of the plenary expansions of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he appears millennium after millennium to annihilate the enemies of Indra. Indra, demigods. Demigods are devotees of Lord Krishna. So that's how we understand demigods. So he's revealing, he's responding back, and again he gets disconnected from Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. And then he comes back realizing that these are great exalted personalities. They just know Krishna as their son. They would never accept him as Supreme Personality of Godhead in that awe and reverence as I know Lord Krishna. Because he's a student, he's a disciple of Brahaspati, he knows the Shastras, he knows who Lord Krishna is, that Lord Krishna is the husband of Mahalakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Yet at the same time, he is realizing that they cannot relate to this fact. They believe that Lord Krishna is their son. And this is also revealed later on when Krishna has a headache. That's a beautiful pastime, it's something that we should cover. Where one day, once again, we talked about how Lord Krishna would call out name of various gopis in his sleep, and even the name of the cows. And this would bewilder all the queens. So this is much later it happened. But it's a beautiful pastime where Lord Krishna, when he is calling out, the queens are getting disturbed, Satyabhama and, Rukmini, and they are asking, why are you calling out all these gopis? This is causing a lot of distress to us. And at that time, just to show the glories of these gopis, Lord Krishna once says that I have a headache. Oh, now various physicians are called, Vaidyas are called, and they are, trying to cure this headache of Lord Shri Krishna. But none of them is able to provide a cure. And at that time, Lord Krishna says, actually, I know the cure of this headache. Then all the, devotees, including his queens and sages who are there, and all the Vishnis and Satvakas and Bhojas, all the descendants, they are there and they are asking, how can we relieve you of this pain? And he says, if I get the dust of the lotus feet of my devotee. And the moment they hear, everyone backs off. Even Rukmini and Satyabhama, they back off. They're like, no. If we put, dust from our feet to your head, then we will have to suffer for millenniums and millenniums in hell. That's a big sin, big offense. Can't do that. Because they are thinking that, as husband, Lord Krishna is their all in all. And he has a higher position. So this is abominable act. So at that time, even Devashi Narad comes, hearing that Krishna has a headache. And Lord Krishna reveals to him that, all you have to do is give me dust off your feet. And Devashi Narad is, he's like, Narayan, how can I do this? So, I will suffer in hell for millennials, for eternity. And then Lord Krishna says, why don't you go to Braj? Go and tell this to gopis and Vrajvasis. So then Devashi Narad, when he comes to Vṛndāvana, he first goes to Nand Maharaj. And out there, he is trying to explain to Nand Maharaj that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Nand Maharaj is laughing when he hears that. He is revealing that Uddhava did the same thing. He was trying to tell us. But every time there was lightning, Krishna as a boy would jump into Mother Yashoda's lap. Then Mother say me, I'm feeling fearful of this lightning sound. The thunder of, the thundering sound outside. So, and you're telling me he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead so sweetly. And Devashi Narad realized, Sage Narad is realizing that Nand Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, they think that Lord Krishna is their child, he's their son. They would never accept him in this position because they are under the influence of Yog Maya. And then, so he's going out to talk to gopis. And when he sees some gopis near the bank of Yamuna, he reveals to them, do you know that Lord Krishna has a headache? And they start crying, they start lamenting, forgetting everything. They are crying. And then he reveals to them that actually there is a solution. And they say, what's the solution? Then he reveals to them that if dust of his devotee is put on his head, then his headache will be cured. They start thumping the ground. They start hitting the ground and creating. They say, bring buckets and take the soil, that we are touching with our feet. And Devashi Narad is surprised. They're like, aren't you afraid that if this dust is put on Lord Krishna's head, you will have to suffer for eternity in hellish conditions. Then the gopis revealed to him that they don't care what happens to them. Just that this dust will cure Lord Krishna's headache. That is the only satisfaction. They don't want Lord Krishna in any kind of anxiety, in any kind of pain, in any kind of difficulty. So they are ready to suffer in hellish condition for eternity. So that is the bhav, that is the love, that is the exalted position of gopis. And even Queen Kunti sings the glories of these gopis, and she is actually praying for difficulties to come her way again and again, because when difficulty comes, she has this opportunity to see Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is present in the heart of all the gopis in bhava form. And their love is like overflowing of an ocean. So we have seen overflowing of a river, overflowing of a lake. But can you imagine overflowing of an ocean? It's inconceivable love they have for Lord Krishna. So Uddhava, he is nicely treated by Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, and after this wonderful welcome, and after seeing the true love that they hold, and Uddhava could see that Yashoda Mai, she is not eating anything because she doesn't feel any appetite, because she's constantly missing Krishna. She's in this mood of separation. She's constantly meditating with such an intensity that he can't even perceive, that he can't even conceive the level of love she and Nand Baba have for Lord Krishna. So after resting overnight, when he gets up in the morning and to perform his duty, it is very nicely described in this chapter near the end, that the gopis, they get up, early in the morning after doing their morning duties, clean up and all, they start to churn yogurt, the curd into butter. As they're churning, some of them, one of the things that they used to do was, many of the gopis would go early morning every day to pay visit to Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. Now the mood of their visit is also, you have to understand it. They are the king and queens of Vraj, right? So in Vraj, Vṛndāvana, they are the king and queens of the mercantile community, or the Vaishya community. The cowherd men, the farmers, the traders who are living there. And people would come to see the king and queen to be in their good books, right? But gopis are going because they feel separation from Krishna, and they know that Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai is also in separation from Krishna. So when you are in a mood and you have someone who is in a mood, similar mood, then you can directly associate and you can discuss the pastime. So they would go to, Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai to meet them, to give them this satisfaction that, we are also in separation, you are also in separation. And they would discuss, they would chant the glories of Lord Krishna, his pastimes, and they would remember Lord Krishna, and so their love would increase. So Lord's internal potency continuously is expanding, and the love for Lordship is expanding in Vṛndāvana. So this was their mood. But when they go on this morning, after doing their morning duties, as they go to see, what do they see? They see the golden chariot. And they are conversing with each other. Oh, whose chariot could it be? This golden chariot is the same chariot as Akrura brought last time. So is it Akrura who has come back again? And they were not happy with Akrura. They were very upset with Akrura because he had taken away Krishna and Balaram along with him. That's their mood. So in this mood, they are looking at this golden chariot and conversing with each other. Yet at the same time, they are saying, well, we are just like dead bodies. Now that Krishna and Balaram are gone, it's like our life has gone away. So what can he take? What can Akrura take? So they have even forgiven Akrura at this moment. They have said that even if he has come to take anything, what can he take from the dead bodies? So they are even looking at, even if it's Akrura who has taken their life and soul, if somebody takes the most precious thing from you, you see him, how would you treat him? They're showing us that you still treat that person in a loving mood, forgiving him, not forgetting what he has done, but forgiving what he has done, the effect of that. And understand that Lord Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart, and nothing happens without the permission of Lord Krishna as Super Soul in our heart. He is sitting in our heart as Super Soul, as permitter and overseer, as Paramatma. So this is where this particular chapter ends, where they are, trying to understand whose chariot it is, and who has come, and what is the mission, what is the purpose. And in the next chapter, we see that how Uddhava, he comes out after performing his morning duties. When he comes out, they see Uddhava. And they are surprised to see, because Uddhava has same features as Lord Krishna. He looks identical to Lord Krishna. Yet at the same time, they know that this is not Krishna. And how they know, we'll be revealing in the next class. So this is where this chapter ends, and where we understand that gopis are the most exalted personalities, the pure devotees of Lord Krishna. And even Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Bai in Vatsalya Bhav, they are still in Madhurya. Influence of Madhurya Bhav is there, and they are missing Lord Krishna. Yet at the same time, Lord Krishna is present. He never steps out of Vṛndāvana, but he is in his Bhava incarnation. He is aparakrat to their vision. That is because of the internal potency of Lord Shri Krishna, Yogamaya. And we will pick it up again in the next chapter. And when we want to develop love of Godhead, the process is very simple. In this age of Kali Yuga, the process is simply chanting of the holy name. Raising your hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitaya Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to Sambal devotees, all glories to Sambal devotees, all glories to Sambal devotees.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlade Lade Daine, Prahlade Lade Daine, Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha, Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha, नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल।